Anyway, then here comes the best friends. We got MJF on this program for 90 seconds, but we have to look at fuck Taylor's face every goddamn week for 20 minutes. Taylor, by the way, got every single one of the muffin tops in the bakery to go along. It's a special, a 6-pack of muffin tops and a mud show face. And the best friends faced Santana and Ortiz. Same as always. I don't need much time for this. Trent is talented. Ortiz is goofy. Santana's got potential. And fuck Taylor is shaped like a fucking suppository. The only thing that made this match look in any way good was watching Taylor try to make a comeback after the ice cold tag that they gave him. Nobody can do a hot tag either. That's impossible in this company. Taylor tries to make a comeback. That made the rest of the match look good. Apart from that, after the babyface comeback, you know that's never the end of the match anymore. For a fucking 100 years, babyface made the comeback, you're going home. No, now it's just the middle of the match. Babyface makes a comeback, but then they got to do fucking extra shit. They did some kind of contrived superplex on Ortiz with one babyface on the other one's shoulders. Then the heels took back over after the babyface comeback. Then the heels did better babyface stuff than the babyfaces did. And then it continued on forever. And then finally, Trent beat Ortiz. The guy that I always say I want to see win, and they always beat him, gets the win because he's the only worthwhile talent in that fucking side of the ring. But when they do, all this time, they could have had Trent beat somebody. When they finally do, they beat the top heel faction, the tag team in the top heel faction. Inner Circle's top heel faction. Santana and Ortiz are the tag team in it. And they beat the top heel faction with preliminary guys that nobody gives a shit about because the way they've been booked and because Chuck Taylor is the epitome of rotten outlaw talent. So they're using preliminary guys that have done jobs for everybody, and now they beat the top heel tag. I do not understand.
You forgot to mention that they showed up in his mother's minivan.
Well, I was going to get to that later because I found out also you can save a bunch of time if you zip through the entrances. So I did that. But with the minivan we'll get to here in a minute. But as far as the match, did you see anything any reason that I should have looked at this closer?
No, I've said it many times. I think Santana has something. Ortiz has showed me nothing besides goofy facials.
Goofy faces.
Not a fan of best friends, not a fan of their gimmick, not a fan of their act.
You're not a friend of their fans either.
I'm not a friend. If you're their best friend, I'm not a friend of yours. I will also say,
and if you're a fan of their friends, I'm no friend of your fans.
This will be the moment I say it for this week, although it goes for every week. But specifically, I guess it was the introduction of Santana and Ortiz that made me think it. Justin Roberts is the worst ring announcer in wrestling. Get him off my TV. You have Dasha working there. She showed you in those weeks when he was not there that she's better than he is on commentary. Not commentary.
Have you noticed
as the ring announcer.
Have you noticed how satisfied he looks with himself when he finishes letting out one of those fucking names? When he introduces Moxley, he almost gives himself a hernia. And then he goes immediately into a smiling and satisfied look on his face. Like he just shit the giant biggest turd ever fucking measured by the fucking what was that, the interplanetary fecalphilia syndrome thing in Stockholm on South Park. That would have been funnier if I could have remembered the name of the organization that weighed turds, but nevertheless.
WWE has better ring announcers than him. NXT has better ring announcers than him. AEW has better ring announcers than Justin Roberts. I get it. He's a friend. He got a job. He's so bad as a ring announcer. And like you said, they keep doing close-ups of his face. And just like he's so pleased with himself.
Happy. He's a happy person. He could say,
championship or whatever the fuck he says, and then they show him and he's like, what's he fucking pleased about?
It looks like somebody shoved feathers in his jockey shorts. He's so fucking tickled.
He is awful. He may be the single worst ring announcer in professional wrestling history.
No, wait a minute. No.
I'm
no.
Worse than Tony Kittle.
I'll tell you who was. He was the fucking volunteer fire department guy in Paintsville, Kentucky that filled in one night that introduced the gangstas as from South Central Louisiana. Because he didn't know L.A. was an abbreviation for Los Angeles.
Well, no, actually even better than that. They had Jack Reynolds do the Clash of the Champions once, and he's reading it off a card, and he goes, "Here are, from Kilos, Russia, at a combined weight of 128 pounds, the Russian Assassins." But those were one-off instances. Consistently, on a regular basis, he is the worst in the history of professional wrestling. And they have a better person there in Dasha. Much, much better. You know, she doesn't have the right friends at this moment, but we'll see what happens in the future.
But also, Justin Roberts should follow the rule set for referees. A great referee is someone who helps the fucking match and you don't really notice him getting in the way. And all I see is Justin Roberts screaming, and he's a giant. He's got to be 6'6" next to all these children. Anyway.
He sucks.
The next, thank you. I believe we got the point. There's plenty of other suckage to go around here. I don't even know if anybody had taken Matt Hardy's pulse yet or not before they cut away from Matt Hardy, a wrestling legend, bleeding to death to cover the destruction in the parking lot of the mid-card or preliminary babyface's mother's minivan.
And by the way, you brought up earlier the camera with Sammy. Is that more ridiculous than the camera inside the minivan while they're destroying the minivan?
Oh, well, no, actually, you're correct. They did have a camera so you could see the cool shot of the fucking fake fucking slapjack that they use breaking the window out. Of course, it was a real one in this case, I imagine. I don't know. Maybe they got fake car glass. Who knows? But the heels decide to demolish Trent's mother's minivan. I can't even say that with a straight face. To get even for getting beaten in a wrestling match, and this is totally impromptu and unscheduled, so they've got a camera in the back of the minivan waiting for somebody to break the windows out. And they beat up the minivan, and this is what we've come to. Is you're going to get heat on the baby faces by trashing their mother's minivan. When the reason why one of the many reasons why nobody gives two shits about your baby face either is because 2 weeks ago they just got driven to the fucking match in their mother's minivan. Is that they're just not trying to appeal to anybody other than the zit-ridden, poorly groomed, unshaven, greasy, computer-living, video game playing fuckwits. We used to know one looked something like that. He was a real bitch that watched this program and live in their mother's basement and eat their Hot Pockets as like a rib on South Park, right? That's all they're going for here. And they don't realize that every grown adult man that's ever had some pussy or got a blowjob in the back of a dumpster behind the Greenville Memorial Auditorium by 5 women at the same time.
What?
Every single one of them wearing fur coats in warm weather and nothing on underneath.
What?
Those people, those grown adult men look at these fucking little pricks in their mother's minivan and go, fuck you, you fucking children. What the fuck is this? If Stone Cold Steve Austin ain't going to be on this program, I'm going to go watch somebody else fight instead of a bunch of grade school kids fighting over their mother's minivan.
2, maybe 3 women, I understand. But after that, it's a bit excessive, I think.
They were all friends.
But after a while,
they made the conscious decision to come to the matches wearing fur coats, high heels, and not a stitch of clothes on underneath any of them.
I understand, but to use this example, for instance, if someone were behind the dumpster.
Yes.
And this was happening, one girl could do one thing, another girl could do another thing. Maybe, like I said, at best, a third person could get involved. The other two are in the back waiting for a turn or just hanging out and talking.
It was a rotating type of thing, but there was a lot of conversation going on from the people who weren't busy with something else, but it was a rotating kind of thing. Just see if we could get away with it. If I'd been the main event that night,
that was the reasoning behind it.
Well, yeah, if I'd have been the main event that night, I would have hopped them all in the car and we'd have gone somewhere, but I didn't have that much time, so we could only get to the fucking dumpster down at the end of the building. Anyway, then here came the best friends again, standing in front of the van, crying over the junkyard dog was blinded and couldn't see his daughter. Right? Fucking Jerry Lawler had his leg broken and his crown stolen and his kingship of Memphis taken by his former manager and best friend. Other people have been turned on by their tag team partner over the world championship or hundreds of thousands of dollars. These two legitimate nitwits are upset because of their mother's minivan. And here are actual quotes. Fuck Taylor said, "Not only did you destroy my friend's mom's van, but you hurt us. Do not touch my mom's van," is what Trent said. Trent said, "You're going to personally apologize to my mom on speakerphone." So now it's just, we're just jacking off. We've got our dicks in our hands and we're just spraying sperm all over the camera lens to come in a giant bukkake all over the viewers' faces, because if they're watching this stupid shit, it's what they deserve. So they are jizzing all over their fans' faces because they're stupid enough to watch this shit. Does any legitimate wrestling fan ever want to see either one of these two idiots again after this promo about it nearly in tears over their mom's minivan?
There are some hardcore AEW fans that enjoy...
I said legitimate wrestling fans.
I don't know. Honestly, these two guys have go-home heat with me as well. I don't want to see them on my TV anymore. Funny enough, since Orange Cassidy's been with them a little less, I care about them a little less. But no, this is awful, and this is bad, and I'm assuming the Young Bucks are booking this tag team division, which is just so stupid, and I don't care about this. I don't like this. I don't know why anyone would like this. And if
only children, I wrote, as a matter of fact, here's my quote: only children could watch and like this, but these guys are supposedly grown men.
Once again, the Raw test would this type of stupidity have been on Raw in the last generation? And if the answer is yes, it sucks, and the answer is yes, and it sucks.